Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Jason Neufeld with Elder Needs Law. And as an elder law attorney, I spend a lot of my time focused on helping people become eligible for long-term care benefits through the Medicaid system. And today I have a special guest who's going to talk about the folks who don't necessarily go through the Medicaid system. It's the folks who, and I tell people all the time, Medicaid's great, but we don't know what Medicaid's going to be like in 20 years. So if you have the ability to get long-term care insurance, long-term disability insurance, this is the time to do those sorts of things. But believe it or not, with insurance companies, they don't always do the right thing. And sometimes they refuse to pay benefits that they're supposed to pay. And that's when we have to bring in another type of specialist. And with that, we segue very, very nicely into my guest for today. We have Edward Dabdoub. He is the managing partner of the Dabdoub Law Firm, and they focus very specifically, very finely on suing insurance companies who don't pay long-term care insurance when they're supposed to, who don't pay long-term disability insurance when they're supposed to, and life insurance. And I'm thrilled to have him here today. Eddie, welcome to the show. Please introduce yourself. Tell us about your firm.
Thank you very much, Jason, for the introduction. Edward Dabdoub with Dabdoub Law Firm. We specialize in representing clients with disability insurance claims, long-term insurance claims, long-term care insurance claims, and life insurance claims. We handle cases in Florida and also across the country.
Yeah, I think that's really important. You are based in South Florida, but because these are federal claims, you can help people anywhere in the country. They don't have to fly to Florida. You don't have to fly to them. Is that right?
Absolutely. Most insurance, no matter what type of insurance it is, really, it's governed by a federal statute called ERISA, and we can handle those cases nationwide because it's federal law. In the cases of individual insurance policies, where state law might apply, we would team up with a local attorney and work closely with that attorney in that state.
Very good. And I kind of want to set the stage. I want people to think about when they ought to be calling you or a firm like yours. We have, people are thinking that we don't know what tomorrow brings, and I could become disabled tomorrow, or when I'm much older, the chances of my needing long-term care are great, and that's for everybody. So they buy a policy. They pay their premiums every month for probably many, many years, and then they need the services. And in your experience, what happens? What goes wrong?
So I think what goes wrong is many people take for granted that the insurance company is going to automatically approve the claim because they know what is true, that they're disabled and they're entitled to either long-term care benefits or long-term disability payments every month. And it doesn't always work that way. I think so much about medicine is gray, right? And when you look on these medical records for our average client, yes, you can tell someone has a chronic or even severe medical condition. Yes, you can see how it impairs their ability to perform certain activities, perhaps of daily living. But the question always becomes, as far as the insurance company is concerned, is it enough? Are you disabled enough yet? Have you crossed that threshold where on the long-term disability insurance side, you can't work regularly and consistently? On the long-term care side, which is an even higher standard, if you will, or burden of disability, the question for the insurance company is, well, are you disabled enough such that you can't engage in certain activities of daily living, which is required before you qualify for long-term care benefits? And so the insurance companies will retain the services of physicians. Many of these doctors do not actually practice anymore, but instead make a good living out of just reviewing medical records. And they write these fancy reports that explain, yes, this person has a medical condition, but no, the person doesn't qualify for disability or long-term care benefits.
And I should mention, a little tongue-in-cheek, they are paid by the insurance company, and the insurance company would prefer not to pay out when possible. Is that fair? That's how they make their money. Anyway, okay, I mean, in my mind, it sounds bizarre to me because I think to myself, who knows me better than my own doctor? And if my own doctor says I'm disabled, if my own doctor says I can't do, 2 out of 6 or 3 out of 6 activities of daily living, how does the insurance company compete with that with a straight face?
Wow, that's such a good question. So That's where it gets really tricky, because your point is absolutely correct. And that's something that almost every client I've represented have told me. And even doctors, they would call me up and they would be outraged. Who is this doctor that's never examined my patient, who thinks he or she is in a better position than I am, when I've been treating my patient for 10 years?
Right.
And I think the answer is, in many ways, especially on the long-term disability side of my practice, it's the law is broken. You see, when you have a disability claim governed by ERISA, chances are that the standard of review in federal court is something called the arbitrary and capricious standard of review, which is essentially a fancy way of saying that if you get before a judge on a long-term disability insurance case, you as a plaintiff have to prove not only that you're disabled under the terms of your disability insurance policy, but that the insurance company's decision to reject your claim is completely unreasonable. That's such a high standard to meet. So essentially, Congress has created this statute, and since ERISA was passed in 1974, the federal courts have created, over the 40 plus years, this body of federal common law that essentially creates this massively high burden for our clients to overcome to win cases in federal court, because the federal judges have to, under the standard of review, defer to the insurance company's decision to deny benefits unless we prove the decision was completely unreasonable. Now, if you're an insurance company and you want to prove it's unreasonable, all you have to do is go and find 2 doctors of your own to write reports, and you now have conflicting medical reports. Wow. So to overcome that, we go out and we get better doctors with much more reputable doctors who are practicing, and we get stronger reports. We get more accurate reports. Yeah. And so we end up in court in a situation where, say, for example, MetLife has 2 physician reports. Well, we've got 4, and our doctors are far more qualified, and our reports read so much better than yours. So we outgun the insurance companies, and we also just have better quality evidence going all around. We try not to make it a close call.
Sure. And so what I'm getting from all this, what I'm sure what the viewers are getting from all this is a lot of work on your end. And so I think that lends itself to the question of, well, this sounds like it's going to be expensive for me to hire an attorney to be able to pursue all this. And I know the answer to the question, but I wanted to come from you. How much does it cost for somebody to, do you charge by the hour? How do people pay for your services?
So we're a contingency fee law firm. So that means we only take cases we really believe in. Right. We have a very high success rate because of it. This is all we do. We know how to do it well. And so our clients never pay unless we recover their benefits for them. And that includes the cost. Any cost that we spend on our cases, we shoulder that risk. So unless our client actually recovers benefits, we'd never put them in a position where we're asking them to write a check to us. And the other thing I would say, and this probably goes back a bit to one of your earlier questions, is the best time to get us involved is on the front end. Yeah. Before the insurance company denies a claim. If you have a long-term disability claim or a long-term insurance claim, getting us involved early can really help to block the insurance company from denying the claim and getting you approved from the outset. And that keeps your costs and your fees down.
Well, that's really interesting to me. So, I mean, when precisely should they be getting you involved? Is it before they even file the claim, or is it after they file the claim and they've received, some kind of a pushback from the insurance company?
I always say it's best to get us involved before you see a problem. Let's work to avoid a problem and get you approved. So the best clients for us are those who call us and say, I think I have to stop working, or I'm struggling at home taking care of myself. I think I need to submit a long-term care claim.
And so so what I'm hearing is they should call you before they even make the claim, maybe, and you're going to walk them through that process. Okay. Ideally,
because I think preparation is the key.
Yeah. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. Very good. Yeah. So, again, I like to emphasize to people, what I do is people work with me when they come to me, they're not going to qualify for long-term care insurance because they already need the care, but they don't quite yet qualify. So I help them protect their assets and protect their income and get them qualified for Medicaid to help paying for home care, ALF care, nursing home care. But when I'm talking to my client, I'm always then turning right to their adult children. I'm going, listen, they can't qualify for long-term care insurance anymore, but you in your 40s, 50s, maybe even 60s, you might be able to qualify. And long-term care insurance, long-term disability insurance, this is just as good as cash. And cash is king, and cash gets you the best care possible. And I just wanted to emphasize that. I want to review. You focus on long-term disability claims, long-term care insurance claims, and life insurance claims. Let's talk about that. I presume that means someone has passed away and then the life insurance policy that they paid on their whole life refuses to pay the face value?
Absolutely. So a life insurance claim could get denied. Most people never think that a life insurance claim could get denied.
Yeah, because
right?
Now it's crystal clear. You're either alive or you're dead. And I guess there's a suicide provision and things like that maybe negate it. But other than that, what else? What are insurance companies denying these claims for?
So one of the main things we see is at the time of the application, when the person is alive and they're taking out the life insurance policy, they may not have fully disclosed their entire medical history. Yeah. Okay. And so if it was purposeful, then that's probably not a situation we can help in. Yeah. But usually it's inadvertent. Right. I can remember a case I handled years ago where a gentleman took out a life insurance policy for a fairly high benefit amount, and he did not disclose that 5 years earlier. He had injured his lower back by falling into a pit. It was not a severe injury, but he needed physical therapy for 6 months and he had a full recovery. Fast forward 5 years, he takes out the life insurance policy, does not disclose a back injury, which has resolved at that time. Then 10 years after taking out the policy, he dies from a very aggressive form of brain cancer. Insurance company denied the claim, rescinded the policy, and sent his spouse the premium payments that he had paid over the years. And the allegation was non-disclosure of a material fact.
I see. So you fought that, and by the way, for everyone who's watching, I want to mention that I know Eddie and his firm personally. I have referred clients to the firm, and they have done tremendous work and have gotten positive results. So I just want to thank you for the work that you're doing in the community and how you're helping people. And there's very specific niche specialty area of law that I have personal experience seeing you do a very nice job. So thank you for that.
I appreciate that and the vote of confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. So listen, if anyone watching, if you or you know anyone, whether it's in Florida or whether it's nationwide, someone who has a disability insurance policy that is not paying, a long-term care insurance policy that's not paying, or a life insurance policy not paying when they're supposed to, give Eddie a call. His phone number is 305-754-2000. Their website is longtermdisability.net. I'm going to put their information in the show notes. Eddie, thank you so much for being here. If there's anything you want to leave us with, that's great, but you've been terrific, and thank you for sharing with us all this great information.
I really appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity. I'll say one thing. No one ever plans to become disabled, right? But here's a stat for you. I think statistically, you're 5 times more likely to become disabled and can't work or care for yourself than you are to pass away before age 65. Yeah. So if anyone ever doubts the importance of getting these types of insurance policies in place, that fact should remove that doubt.
I agree. I tell people the same thing about long-term care insurance. As we age, the single biggest threat to your finances is the long-term care insurance cost, because Medicare doesn't cover it. A lot of people think Medicare does, but it really doesn't. So I'm with you on that one 100%. Eddie, thank you so much. Edward Dabdoub with the Dabdoub Law Firm. Thank you very much for being here today, and we'll stay in touch, my friend.
All right. Thanks a lot.
You got it.